Hey guys, it's Megan, and in today's Storytime video, I am going to tell you about how I lost and never had in my possession again my original engagement ring. My husband and I got engaged after we'd only been dating 9 months, and so we were 19 years old, we were in college, and we didn't want to get married until we graduated from college, but we wanted to be engaged. We didn't want to wait. I don't know why. Anyway, we had a 4-year engagement, and we actually got married at the same place we got engaged. We got engaged at Walt Disney World, and we got married at Walt Disney World. No, Minnie and Mickey were not part of our ceremony. It wasn't anything animated like that. It was super classy, super high-end, super elegant, and that's why we wanted to get married at Disney. And we got married on the same exact day 4 years later. So I had had my engagement ring for 4 years. I wore it everywhere. I was very young. I was naive. I thought I was gonna have this engagement ring forever. To me, it was the most beautiful ring that there was at the time. It was almost as if I designed a ring, this is what it would look like. It was super unique, super gorgeous. It was really big, and no one had one like mine. And so I'm all about that. I love to be original and different, and so I was just beyond life with this ring. And we always vacation to Florida. That's kind of like my family spot of vacations, and then my husband's family, they live in Florida, so we would always go visit them. And we decided that when we got married, we were going to just move to Florida. It was right after graduation, then we got married, then we moved. So there's a lot going on, but I had my ring all the time. Any vacation that we took to Florida, I always would wear my ring, whether it was in the pool, on the beach, wherever it was. If you take anything away from this video today, it is that you should not ever, ever, ever wear nice jewelry on the beach. Don't ever, ever, ever do it. Don't do it. Because this is what happens. So we moved to Florida. We got married in July. We moved to Florida then, and we were living like 2 hours from his family, and they actually did live right on the beach. And so we were down there all the time, visiting them, going to the beach, hanging out. Again, my ring was with me all the time. I never took it off. I loved it. It was an obsession. I never wanted to be without it. So fast forward to November of 2006, and we were so excited. It was our first Thanksgiving together. We got to see all of his family, and we got to be with family on the holidays, and he got to see his parents. We hadn't seen them since July. So it was Thanksgiving Day. My birthday is in November, so on this year it was special because my birthday fell on Thanksgiving. We are staying with his grandmother, and she lives in her my husband's father, so my father-in-law's childhood home. And it was very well maintained, very well taken care of, totally up to date. It was just extremely well taken care of. It wasn't run down or dilapidated, anything like that, even though it was like 50 years old. So I'm in the shower and I'm washing my hair, and I look down and I notice that my ring looked dark in the center. And I'm thinking, oh, I got soap on my ring or shampoo or something. I need to get it off. Well, I rinsed it. I took, it was one of those shower heads that you can take off. And I was doing this with it. And then I realized I kind of had like face wash in my eyes. And I realized my diamond's gone. And I knew it had to have fallen down the drain because I would have noticed earlier that morning if it was missing. So I instantly get out of the shower, shampoo in my hair, I'm soaking wet, and then I hurry up and throw clothes on, go to my husband, and I'm just like crying my eyes out. Oh my gosh, I lost my diamond. What are we gonna do? So my father-in-law calls plumbers, every plumber under the sun, and none of them can come out. And they're basically like, if it's a 50-year-old home and you were in the shower, it's gone. Like, your diamond is gone. And so we were like, okay. So we just went on about the day. I wasn't gonna ruin my birthday. I wasn't gonna ruin Thanksgiving, ruin, our first Thanksgiving together, dwelling on my ring. So we didn't deal with it, and then We stayed in town visiting through the weekend, and then we went back to where we were living the following week, and we started making phone calls to our insurance company because, of course, we had personal articles insurance on my ring, and then we contacted the jeweler. That is what our insurance company recommended us to do, and to contact the manufacturer. What a nightmare. The jeweler would not tell us who the manufacturer was so that we could have the ring, like the diamond, replaced. It was a special type of cut diamond. It was extremely unique. There was really, like I said, nothing like it on the market. And so it wasn't like I could just go anywhere and have this replaced. They were telling us, nope, sorry, we can't do it. And then they go out of business in the city that we had lived in. And we were just like, oh my gosh, it was not a nationwide chain or anything like that. We were just beside ourselves. Oh my goodness, what are we gonna do? So then we were contacting our insurance company, and then we had to bring my ring to a jeweler in the city that we were living in, and that was like in connection with our insurance company. So even though I didn't purchase my ring there, that is who they recommended so that they could have an adjuster go look at it and have it appraised and that type of thing. So we went through that process, and then they told us that their only option at this point was to just write us a check, and they were going to keep the remaining parts of the ring, and I could just pick out another ring with this money. Okay, that was devastating, and I thought, oh, maybe we can contact another jeweler and we can have something similar made or created, designed. Nothing like that worked. No one had like wanted to mess with it because they'd never heard of it. It was super unique, blah, blah, blah. And so I ended up just putting the money in the bank and just waiting and stopping by random jewelry stores here and there until I found something that I loved. Well, I never found anything that I loved. I found something that was sufficient at the time. It was just a center stone princess cut diamond, and then it was a thicker band, white gold, and then it had princess cut diamonds on the sides, and then it had a band to match, and then with princess cut diamonds on the side. I think it's a pretty ring. It was beautiful at the time, whatever. It was like the best I could do. I couldn't design something because it was going to be astronomical, and we're newlyweds, so I just had the money from the insurance check. Well, I get the ring, and I liked it. I didn't love it, but I liked it, and it was okay. I, wore it. Well, then literally every person I would see in public has the same exact, the center cut, princess cut with diamonds on the side, diamonds on the band, and I was just sort of just turned off by it. I actually stopped liking the ring. If I don't have any sentimental value whatsoever to this ring because it wasn't my original wedding set anyway. So then I got informed. I have a friend who was very passionate about blood diamonds, and she was in the process of getting engaged, and they were kind of deciding what type of ring she would want, and she educated me on blood diamonds. I didn't really know anything about it. I watched a few documentaries, did some research on my own, and then I decided that I no longer wanted to have a diamond engagement ring either. I wanted something a little more unique. So on my birthday, I found this ring that I loved. It was a white sapphire and a halo set with white sapphires, smaller ones, around it. And it was beautiful. It was pretty. It was very classic looking and just gorgeous. I loved it. And it was only, a couple $100 compared to my, my diamond, my engagement ring, the wedding band I had. But I found myself just supplementing that ring and wearing that ring all the time as an engagement ring, if you will. And it went on for a very long time. I loved that ring. That's the ring I wanted to wear all the time, and I never, hardly ever wore my actual official wedding ring. That I no longer wanted that ring set, and I thought it was just a waste for it just to be sitting in a jewelry box. I have no sentimental attachment to it. I didn't care to pass it down to my daughters because like I have no like connection with this ring whatsoever. And so we decided to sell my ring set. I know that sounds crazy, and I think a lot of people were appalled at first when they found out what I was actually doing, but it is like the best thing I ever did in regards to that situation. I was so thrilled to get rid of that ring. I could not wait to sell it. We sold it right away, and then I decided to start researching other types of stones, gemstones, that sort of thing. I wanted something extremely unique. I wanted something that I would love, something that I have, you know, like bigger knuckles. It's hereditary. Even if I weighed 100 pounds, I would still have bigger knuckles like my mom. So I need something a little more flattering, a little more complimentary, and something to balance out my finger. So I was doing research, staying completely away from diamonds, and then I went ahead and I just started, you know, getting on Pinterest, which that's where I get a lot of my inspiration from. I got on Pinterest, and then I started looking up like white sapphires and pink sapphires. I really didn't want a white sapphire because I didn't want something that would look like a diamond and then it would look like, oh, it's trying to be a diamond, but it's huge, so it's fake. I didn't want that look. I wasn't trying to have the look of a diamond whatsoever. So I started looking up, you know, rose gold rings, because that's when that was really big 2 years ago. And then I found my ring. I found it from an Etsy seller, Sam and Sue, and they are based in Hawaii. And this is a morganite. I had never heard of a morganite before. It is I think it's 11 by 9 stone, which is the equivalent of 4 carat. It's sitting on a halo stone. They are diamonds, but to my knowledge, the small, tiny little diamonds around are actually, they're not blood diamonds, supposedly. So, and then they're very small. And then I just feel like it's super flattering on my hand. You can tell it's, you know, a wedding set. It has 2 bands. I actually just had them soldered, but it has these 2 bands right here that go around the ring. It's very flattering. I love the stone. It's a peachy pink. I love it. I couldn't decide between rose gold and white gold. After all of the research that I did, I started getting on YouTube. How I found Alex Garza here on YouTube. She is a beauty guru, and she actually had the same exact ring I was looking at, but she had hers in rose gold. And it was such a wonderful thing because I could see it in her video. I was so nervous about ordering something that was like thousands of dollars, even though it wasn't like ridiculously insane, it was still thousands of dollars. So I was nervous about purchasing something that expensive on Etsy, through Etsy, that sort of thing. But it was the best thing I did. I got my ring, and initially he ordered white gold, but there was a mistake, there was a slip up, and I had no clue. It had been delivered to my house. I had like a newborn at the time, basically, and a toddler, so I had no clue, like literally no clue. They were supposed to ship it to his work, and they didn't. They shipped it to our house. Somebody had to be there to sign for it, so my mom had to come over, and they were like counting down the minutes until the delivery guy was gonna be there. And so anyway, he opens it when he gets home, and he's like, oh my gosh, it came in rose gold, and I wanted white gold. I was just afraid rose gold would be just a fad, and I just thought that the morganite wouldn't stand out as much, but it still would because it is surrounded by the halo diamonds. And so then he sent that back. They redid it in rose gold, and then I got my ring on my 9-year anniversary, and it was so romantic. It was like our best anniversary to date. I'm hoping this year will be our 11th wedding anniversary. I'm hoping it will just be just as special because we have a few things planned. But that is how I ended up with this morganite, and I absolutely love it. I could not have wished for a better ring. It's like I actually have sentimental value to this ring, and my husband was so amazing, and the way that he made that happen is because he sort of like re-proposed to me, and included our daughters and included things that had happened in our journey in our marriage. We had a lot of stuff happen in our marriage. Nothing between my husband and I, but having a child born with special needs, and I'd had a miscarriage. We moved so many times because of the industry that my husband was in, and we just had a lot of hardships going on in our life, and it was just incredible. It was just amazing. And it literally, the first time I put that ring on, the process that I had researched it, I had sought this ring out, all the research I had behind it, all of the videos I watched, all of the reviews I read, I was already so invested in this ring. And then when he re-proposed to me, it was so incredible. And the first moment I put this ring on, I had way more emotional attachment and sentimental value than I ever did in the other set that I had for like 5 years. Honestly, at this point, I can say I learned a very valuable lesson at the age of 23. If you see the prongs on the end, let it focus. The prongs here around the sides, what happened was a teeny tiny granular piece of sand got in there when it was wet, and then it had expanded, and it made the prong loose, which made my diamond just fall out. And so that's what happened. So please, please, please never take nice jewelry, even if it's diamond earrings, diamond anything. Bring your cosmetic stuff, bring those CZs, honey, get the Bobble Bar, the Target, just bring all of that stuff. Don't even bring nice jewelry to the beach. I don't anymore ever since then. And that was such a good lesson to learn because we were at the beach all the time, living in Florida. And I just loved the process of him re-proposing. It almost meant more to me than his original proposal. And the reason why is because we've already had this adventure of being married and being together and growing up together. And so, he got to talk about things that happened years ago, and I mean, it was just incredible. It was amazing. So I would definitely say that was one of the most special moments in my marriage, was the re-proposal. So I'm actually kind of grateful that it happened the way it did. God does have a plan, and he definitely knew what he was doing. And I can honestly say, I love my ring. I love it. I love it. I love it. It's so original. I've never seen anyone where I live with it. I know Sam and Sue, they obviously sell lots of them. They're very popular, but it's just wonderful that I feel kind of like an original person again. I feel like, oh, I have something kind of custom. So that is my story about losing my engagement ring. I hope that never happens to anyone, and I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that you give it a thumbs up if you did, and if you'd like to have any more story times, if I did like a story time series, I would love to get that information from you guys in the comments below, and I appreciate you taking your time to spend it with me today. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!